All right, we're back. Ones that are making sure that this whole thing runs.
Dauster
Decide to
didn't
stop
pay the
going
bill.
on the hamster wheel.
That's what it
Yeah, they
was.
went on.
Dauster didn't pay the bill.
You're right. I forgot to pay the bill. We didn't do enough ads. We need to get some more ads in here. All right, we're coming back with Michigan State. They beat Illinois 88-80. And RC, it was probably the first time all season, maybe the first time all season, that all three of AJ Hogard, Malik Hall, and Tyson. Hogard had 23 points, 5 assists.
Right? Like coming in late. They'll get more opportunities because they were in the Big Ten. But they're even for their schedule yet. Michigan State doesn't have a lot of games left, a lot of wiggle room. I mean, they've dropped quite a bit. And credit to those guys. At home, they dug deep. They got it done. Defensively created turnovers there when it mattered the most at the end of the game. Some of Illinois' demons, lack of decision-making point guard play kind of crept in and hurt them. But credit to Michigan State. But we've talked about them in nausea. I've seen nothing that changes that. I thought they would be in. I didn't think they'd play it this close, but it wouldn't have surprised me if they didn't make it. But they got in. I mean, their Achilles heel is what it's been all year long. And credit to those guys. They are dangerous when all three of those guys play well. But we're 24 games into a season, and we're sitting here talking about this is the first time all three of them play well. So I'm not banking on that happening again. I've seen enough of these guys to know that they're who they are and what I thought they were all year long. I think they'll squeeze themselves in. They'll figure a way to get in there, but I don't expect them to go very far once they get in.
Goodman?
Maybe we'll get a Gonzaga-Michigan State first four matchup between Izzo and Few. Both extending their streaks, getting in, and then having to play each other to get in the main bracket. Listen, they're dangerous when everything's clicking, but like how often have we seen that? Like you said, RC, like, are you trusting Hogard? Yeah, one game he looks great. Well, the Minnesota game he looked terrible, right? And they lost that game. Today, if you get and Tyson Walker, I almost feel like those guys knew they had to pick it up because Tyson Walker does not look like Tyson Walker right now. He's battling that groin injury. He just doesn't look like he's got the same, quickness and burst that he normally has. But, Malik Hall picked it up. Hogard was great. Akins was pretty good other than, the dumb technical that he picked up, talking to the crowd or the bench or whatever after Coleman Hawkins picked it up for Illinois. So you knew the refs were going to have to give it to you because they had hit Coleman Hawkins with it earlier. But yeah, I think they're better with Jackson Kohler. Like he gives them at least a weapon down low that they can go to. He had a couple big offensive boards today, put back. So I think he gives them a different dimension. You could play him with Carson Cooper. You could play him a little bit at the 5, even though he doesn't rebound well enough. So again, I'm like RC, like I don't trust them, but can they win 2 straight if they get in the NCAA tournament? Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys just all kind of hit it right there. I do think that with their guard play, when they get going, they are going to be able to play with anybody, right? Like if you get a night in the tournament where these 3 guys all show up, then they're going to find a way to pull off an upset. And would you be shocked if Michigan State found a way in the playing game as an 11 seed or whatever it is to get to to win a game, then beat a 6 seed and then beat a 3 seed and find themselves in the Sweet 16 or something like that? I don't think that would surprise me. It also wouldn't surprise me if they got dropped by 25 in the playing game. Like they're one of those teams that just make absolutely no sense, and anything that could happen, I think
there are a lot of those teams, though, Rob. Aren't there like a bunch of those teams you could say that about? So many, right? So many. I mean, add Wisconsin to that list now, right? Like they're firmly in that equation. Like every team in the Big Ten not named Purdue is probably there. Illinois, like they could get blown out in a game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we know that. But we know those teams are going to be there. We know Illinois is going to be there. Had Michigan State not won this game today, let's look at this. I mean, look at Penn State. That ain't moving a needle. At Michigan, that ain't moving a needle. Home against Iowa ain't moving a needle. Ohio State isn't moving a needle. They sure as hell isn't going to Mackey Arena and winning. So that ain't happening. And then their best chance for the rest of the year would be home against Northwestern. That's the last resume. And then the next game is at Indiana. That's it. So their opportunities to put themselves in, they got more games now that can hurt them than help them going forward. So they got to play their best basketball right now just to stay in it. They drop 2 or 3 of those games against those opponents we just said, they're not in the tournament.
Yeah, it's wild when you think about that's where we are right now with Michigan State. Let's talk about Illinois real quick. We finally saw Terrence Shannon have kind of a blow-up game. He's still not shooting it the way that he was before the suspension, but he finished with 28 points. He was able to get to the basket. He got 13 foul shots. Coleman Hawkins, I thought, despite the technical that he got, which was completely ridiculous, by the way, I thought that he played pretty well.
But it was a rep. It was a rep technical. It was. It's because he doesn't shut up. It's because refs don't like him. That's why.
No, I get it. You're not.
Put. Why? Right.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's just I can't stand the idea. I'm going to get on my soapbox. Give me 30 seconds, and then I'll get off the soapbox. College basketball. What makes it such a special thing is the energy and the environment and how loud it is and the interaction with the students. There's nowhere else in American sports where you have student sections that are that loud and that aggressive and that vulgar, literally right on top of the court or the playing surface, where they can, whatever they say, the players can hear every single word of it, right, while they're playing. What makes college basketball special is the emotion that comes out of that. And finding ways to legislate emotion out of the game means we're just going to get a sterile product. We saw what that was when during the COVID season when no one was in the building. It's not really always a fun watch, right? It's not that great to just sit there and watch just basketball at the college level. The environment is what makes it special. Stop trying to make rules to take the emotion out of the game. Okay, this is me getting off of my soapbox. All right, RC, I'm going to put a gun to your head. Which of these two teams, Michigan State or Illinois, would you back to go farther in the tournament? Who are you riding with? Who would you be more surprised to see in the second weekend?
This is easy because Michigan State is fighting just to stay in it. I know Illinois is going to be in it. I don't trust. I'm still not there yet. I'm not there that Michigan State is going to listen. I know Illinois is going to be there. I don't have any questions about it.
Let's say, all right. Can I rephrase the question? Let's say Michigan State is in as a 10 seed, Illinois is in as a 4 seed. Who are you taking? Who do you like? They're both in. Who do you like?
I'm not going to be prisoner of the moment and say that. Like I'm stick to what I said all year long. I'm going with Illinois. I've learned more from that team through the distractions of what we can talk about what they don't have, everything else. A lot of teams would have imploded off everything that was surrounded with Terrence Shannon. That team stuck together, went through it all. If you know nothing about Illinois, you know they've been through that.
Yep.
There's only one of these teams that was preseason 4th-ranked team in the country, and we're sitting here questioning whether they're going to make it into the tournament. And that's all my argument been all year with Michigan State is the weight of the expectations of what we just expect them to be. They're not that team. That's all it is. Could they get him? They got a dude. As long as you got Walker, you got a dude that can give you 30 and can win any game, any given night. So I would never count them out that game because of that dude on that team. I've seen it enough from him. I would never question him. Never.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to get to a break here.
Quickly.
Go ahead.
Rob, really quick. 10 seconds. Terrence Shannon at Breslin in his zone or whatever it is tonight, 28 points, showed me something that he can handle that because he had done it well at home, had struggled on the road. This was big for him tonight.
Yep. I agree. I can't shake the idea that it just makes so much sense for Illinois to be able to make a run, but I do not trust them as far as I can throw them. We're going to get to a break here. We got to talk about Purdue and Indiana, but we just talked about two teams that have had 24-plus year NCAA tournament streaks. The longest NCAA tournament streak, Kansas. Talking to them next. As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 each and every week of the college basketball season. We have a special offer that will be available starting on Tuesday, January 9th and running through Monday, February 12th, the morning after Super Bowl 58. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, in honor of the big game, you can use the bonus code FIELD158 and you'll get $158 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD158. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive $158 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD158 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create separate accounts in each state. It's easy, it's simple, it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the heart of the college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odd boosts, and my favorite, a nice juicy parlay boost. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Field 158. Welcome back to the Saturday evening edition of the Field of 68 After Dark. Rob Dauster, Randolph Childress, Jeff Goodman are presented by our partners over at BetMGM, and we are live right now on Sirius XM at channel 84. Good news, guys. We didn't have a single technical difficulty during that entire break. We made it all the way through. We got it added. We did everything that we needed to do. We were able, Jeff, to pay the bills so that we don't have any more technical difficulties. All right.
And
we got to talk about.
And RC wiped his lens. RC wiped his
lens. I got my
lens.
lens.
He was great. I thought he was blurry because there's a little bit of this.
There you go.
All right, let's talk Kansas Baylor. Kansas beats Baylor without their leading scorer and without the guy who is probably the All-American on their team, Kevin McCullough. The final score was 64-61. Baylor had 21 turnovers. Nick Timberlake, good news. He had 8 points. The bad news, in the last 15 seconds, he had 4 mistakes that probably should have allowed Baylor to force overtime in this game. Johnny Furphy's come back to earth. He's missed 10 straight threes. And DeJuan Harris looked like he might have hurt his ankle pretty badly. I don't know. We don't have any info on that, but he was limping around pretty good at the end of the game. Goodman, talk to me about this Kansas team and talk to me about this win over Baylor in the Fog.
I mean, it was a grinder of a win, right? I mean, listen, Baylor turned it over. It felt like every other possession, and a lot of them were unforced. They were throwing the ball all over the damn Fog Allen, but they were still in the game because Kansas didn't play well. They really didn't. Hunter didn't have his A game. They didn't have McCullough. Furphy couldn't make a shot. Like you said, DeJuan Harris, he made a big three. Then he gets hurt, limping around. Tough-ass kid. Comes back out there basically on one ankle, makes a big shot, runs the offense. Timberlake makes a three, and they act like, the whole arena acts like it's the greatest thing ever because he hasn't made one all year. And then, like you said, at the end of the game, he was back to Nick Timberlake. They get nothing off their bench. Again, they're good. They're good, but it's hard. Without McCullough, it's hard because he's been, like you said, they're All-American. Like he and Hunter Dickinson are like 1A and 1B, but the reason you give it to McCullough is 1A is because of his defense. And he's been as good a two-way player as there's probably been in the entire country not named Zach Edey, right? I mean, Shannon missed some games, so you probably put McCullough ahead of him at this point. Again, give Baylor credit. They were still in the game and they had a chance, even though, honestly, they didn't play well. Like Ray J. Dennis wasn't good. Like Jalen Bridges missed a couple big shots. Jaden Nunn was throwing the ball around. Again, it was like the Missy kid was great. He was awesome. But other than that, nobody else played great. It was an ugly game, I guess is what I'm getting at. It was an ugly-ass game that Kansas found a way to win.
Yep. RC?
Your backcourt can't have 11 turnovers. For Baylor, your backcourt can't play. You can't throw the ball away that way and expect to win on the road against, in Kansas, of all places to play in the country. That's as difficult as it is. And you can't go there and your starting backcourt gives you 11 turnovers. Like, you're lucky the game was this close because if obviously McCullough was out, and that's a big thing. So that was a big win for Kansas. He was out. But if Kansas plays halfway decent offensively, they blow this game open. I mean, I thought – You turn the ball over 21 times and in Fog Arena, you're blown out. Rock Talk Jayhawk, you're usually blown out at that point. That's an ugly win. That game is the walk-ons are playing because you're down by 20, 25, 30 points. So I didn't think it was a great game. I thought both teams played hard. I thought they competed their asses off, but I didn't think it was a great game. I thought it was just an ugly rock fight, and Kansas just had the bigger stones.
So it was a Big 12 game. It was every single Big 12 game that we've ever seen this entire season. A bunch of teams that just wanted
but
to guard
usually you'll
and
get a
muck it up.
performance out of it. Someone will show you something offensively. That was just like, man, close your eyes. Like, you don't even want to see it. It's like they were hoping the clock just ran.
But you know what it showed? How important Kevin McCullough is. Like I think we knew it, but now when they don't have him, you realize how important that dude is on the offensive end as well.
Yeah, because you know what it is, Jeff? Like he operates as their second point guard, right? Like we how much do we talk about this? People that listen to the Field of 68 have probably heard me say this about 8 million times at this point. But if you go back and look through the teams that have won national championships in the last 15 years, almost all of them play with 2 point guards. Like the exception was Kansas in 2022 when it was DeJuan Harris and he played with Christian Brown and Jalen Wilson and Ochai Agbaji and those guys, right? Everyone else basically has had 2 point guards, from Kemba and Shabazz to Shabazz and Ryan Boatwright to Peyton Siva and Russ Smith to Joel Berry and Theo Pinson to basically Ryan Arcidiacono and Jalen Brown. Everybody's got 2 point guards. And when Kansas doesn't have Kevin McCullough, they have a point guard and a bunch of guys that can finish plays. And having him with his ability to shoot, his ability to pass, his ability to get to the basket, I think the best way to phrase it, he's probably like the best glue guy in the country. And it's very evident that things just don't work as well when you don't have him. Just a quick whip around in the Big 12. Houston won at Cincinnati despite being down by 7 in the second half. UCF lost at Texas Tech, so Texas Tech is still kind of right there in the mix. Iowa State beat TCU, so we still have 4 teams at the top of the Big 12 that are all within 1 game of first place. Is this just going to be what it is for the whole season, Jeff? Or are we just looking at a slog fest at the top of this conference?
Yeah, and the fact that like Iowa State's still there is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I mean, really is. Like when we're talking about coaches of the year, and again, Lamont Paris is number 1 right now, period. Like he is number 1. I don't want to hear anybody else in that number 1 spot today. Now it can change, but he's number 1. TJ Otzelberger is somewhere in that top 5, because, you know, again, people thought they'd be towards the bottom. He thought they'd be towards the bottom of the Big 12. I'm telling you, he thought, I got a young team. I got freshmen. Like, I don't think I'm going to be that good. That I called him early in the season, and I was like, did you do this with the net? Are you blowing out teams because, you know, you put together this crappy schedule? He's like, yeah, I really didn't think we were going to be this good. And they only have 1 walk-on, so they can't really call the dogs off. But yeah, like to me, this league is going to end up to me as a tie. I think 2 or 3 teams will share the league title, and I think 2 of them, if it's 3 overall, it's going to be Kansas and Houston, and maybe 1 other.
Yeah. Yep. All right. RC, I want to get to Purdue, Indiana, because my big question here, after seeing Zach Edey go for 26 points and 13 boards and 4 assists, after seeing the big fella make his first 3, after coming up with a new nickname for him, Zach 3D. He's not Big C anymore, man. He's Zach 3D. It's the first time since 1934. All right, RC, listen to this. I want you to really comprehend this stat. Okay, it's the first time since 1934 when Jeff Goodman was in first grade that Purdue has swept Indiana with a pair of 20-point victories over the Hoosiers. So here's my question, Randolph. I'm not even going to ask Goodman because Goodman is a biased Indiana fan these days. Is this still a rivalry?
Not as long as Zach Edey's in uniform, it ain't no damn rivalry. We got to wait till Zach get out. We got to wait till Zach leave, man. That ain't no rivalry as long as when Zach Edey leave, we can start the rivalry talk right now. I think we all know who running Indiana right about now. So they got to get Zach Edey out of there, man.
How embarrassing though, Rob. Think about this. Could it be any worse than this? Right? They blow out Indiana. They have Zach Edey make his first 3. He doesn't even laugh. Like he smiles a little bit, but he, you know, it basically taunting their rival, and then the fans start yelling NIT at the end of the game to Indiana. Like,
Oh.
this is an embarrassment. No, this is an embarrassment. And again, I'm going to get back in my soapbox here and say it. These former NBA guys, like, enough of them. Enough of hiring them. They all suck. Seriously, they all stink. They all stink. None of them make it in the tournament this year. They're all sucking right now, whether it's Stackhouse, whether it's Woodson, whether it's Juwan Howard. Penny's the best of them, and they've lost, what, like 4 or 5? Like, come on. Like, enough of this. It's a different game. It's a different game. No more. No more of them. No more.
Yeah, I think that is your rant. I'm going to let you go on that rant, and I'm going to let you have that rant. I'm going to let you operate in that anti-NBA basketball player space all by yourself. I will say this,
right,
though. I will say this. No, look, you're not wrong. I'm not interested in that conversation right now because I want to celebrate what this Purdue team
I was trying to deviate.
I know you are, and I'm trying to get it back on the tracks. I'm a little bit distracted again. Everything is blurry here, Jeff. Everything is blurry. It's not just RC. Everything.
No, it's clean now. RC, we can see him clearly now.
Yeah, you see me, man. I can see myself now.
No, I do just on Purdue in Indiana. Like, here's my big question: how do we get this back to being something where Indiana is at the level that Purdue is right now? I'm not saying they got to be like the number 1 and number 2 team in the country, but this really shocked me when I went and looked it up. Indiana has not been a top 10 team in back-to-back AP polls since the end of the 2013 season when Tom Crean was there. That was 2 stints at ESPN ago. For Tom Crean. He's been
2 stints ago.
Yeah, no, seriously. He lost his job at Indiana, then he was at ESPN, then he got Georgia, then he lost the job at Georgia. Now he's back at ESPN. He's been at ESPN twice since Indiana had back-to-back top 10 AP polls, back-to-back weeks. How do you get it back? Like at some point
you got to hire the right guy. But you got to hire the right guy because they have NIL now. I mean, it's not like they don't have NIL, so they got to get the right guy in. To me, here's the thing, and I hate to say this, but I think it's true. You don't want to miss now the opportunity to get Dusty May. Dusty May was an Indiana manager. He's doing a great job at FAU. I know they're not doing as well this year, but what he's done in totality the last 2 years is insane. If we've all been to FAU. It's insane. So if you don't hire him this year, what if he gets a good job? A good high major job, then you're going to miss out on him because I don't think he's going to leave in a year when I think they probably do make a move on Mike Woodson. So ultimately, it's going to be on Mike Woodson here because they're not going to fire Mike Woodson. He's one of their own. Some of the players have split off and they want a change made, but there's a lot of guys, Quinn Buckner, I think, included, they're not ready to make a move because he did get him the tournament the last 2 years. So you got to give him his props for that. This year's team was constructed as poorly as it gets.
Randolph?
No, I was going to say, I think this team is just not good enough. And I don't think you can move on from him because I think the success he's had the last couple of years. Now, do you want it to continue to improve? I think you do. This is just, as of right now, you got to chalk this up as a one-off. Let's see. Recruiting seems to be going well for them. Let's see what they change. If they got NIL now, let's see what things look like going forward here. I'm not ready to turn the page other than just saying this is one, another.
But you worry,
one-off.
Do you worry, like I said, that you're going to miss out on Dusty May if you don't make a move now?
Well, but so much of this, as you know, Jeff, all of this is the timing anyway, right? It's just a timing of when you fall into that gap with Dusty. Dusty's going to have so many options at the end of the year. Though he was there, I think he'll have other options in even Florida. There'll be other places there. He might say, look, I don't want to go to Indiana. I wouldn't worry about him. He has more options. But I'm a big Dusty May fan. I'm a huge Dusty May fan. But I think he'll have options. And I don't know if you move on. You better be damn sure if you're gonna move on from a guy and get to get the guy. You better be damn sure. That's a lot of money and a lot of we got to see.
Rob, would you do it? Like Rob, what would you do if you think Dusty's going to take something else, another high major job, and he's going to be off the table in a year from this year? What would you do?
I don't think that I would mortgage the future of the program to get a guy that's basically had like a good 18 months, right? And I love, like, look, I think Dusty's going to be a star,
Good.
but I
He's
don't,
had an
I don't,
insane 18 months.
yeah, I know, but I don't know if you pull the plug on Woodson just yet for that, because we've seen lots of guys that have been Dusty May before Dusty May that have not lived up to the expectations they could put on them for the success that they had, right? Sometimes you need to find the right landing spot. So I don't know if that's necessarily what you would want to do. Here's what I will say. If you are convinced that he is the right hire, I don't think there's anything wrong with moving on a year earlier than expected to make sure that you go get that right hire. But you have to be 100% convinced that he is the right. Like, we've seen that in the past, right? When you know it was the wrong decision to bring someone in and you're ready to kind of go out and make a change, you can do it. You have to be sure that Dusty is the right guy, and I think he is. I don't know if I would bet 100% on it. Where do you stand on that? Both of you guys. I'm curious.
But
I
see,
think he's a
that was my
major
point.
upgrade. I think he's a major upgrade over Woodson. In my opinion, is he he's not Scott Drew. I'd rather have Scott Drew, but I don't think you're going to get Scott Drew. I think Dusty May is the best you're going to get. Remember, Indiana didn't get anybody big last time. They tried this not that long ago, and they couldn't get Brad Stevens. Obviously, we know that. They ended up with a guy who had never coached in college, who was 63 years old. I mean, that's what they ended up with.
That's my point. And that's what I was getting ready to say to you guys. And my question was going to be, we're all old enough to remember when Indiana was this, like, oh my God, it's Indiana basketball. And it reminds me of Notre Dame football.
Mm-hmm.
Where we grew up in Notre Dame football is just, and let's be honest, it's good, but it isn't what it was when we grew up thinking what it was.
No.
And that's how I feel about Indiana basketball.
But
these kids growing up now,
yeah,
I know, but the fan support is unbelievable.
From the fan standpoint, it's the same as Notre Dame, but they don't. And you answered the question, because that's what I was going to ask you. You said they got NIL money now. All right, they got NIL money. But what I'm saying is that from the expectations of what people think, it's like it's like Notre Dame football. And I say that because you see kids going there, but you don't see them at the top 5 of recruiting or NIL and all the other stuff going on. It's Notre Dame football. It's Indiana basketball. They're great.
Yeah.
But are we naming them as the top 5 or top 10 now because of history or because of where they are right now? I mean, that's what I say to
what I'm saying is, here's what I'm saying for Indiana basketball. They should be in the tournament every damn year. Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it should be where if they don't get in, it's a major surprise. They should be in almost every year and be a second weekend team 3 out of every 5 years. That's what Indiana.
Okay, can I play devil's advocate for you for 1 second, Jeff? Last year they were a 4 seed with Trace Jackson Davis. I know that this roster isn't perfectly constructed, but they haven't had the guy that they thought was going to be their starting point guard for basically the entire season in Xavier Johnson, who was dealing with an ankle thing. Now he's got is it a wrist injury that he's got? And like, even when he came back, he didn't look right. Like, so I'm willing to give Woodson the benefit of the doubt for that. Like, he risked a lot, putting everything on having just Xavier Johnson as a point guard.
Why? But why? That's my question to you. Why would you do that? Why would you put everything on a guy that you didn't even know was going to be eligible? He had to get cleared by the NCAA, number one. And why wouldn't you get another combo guard to be able to take some of the pressure that if
you should have?
I mean, come on.
He should have.
Right.
He should have. He should have gotten another combo guard. He probably shouldn't have promised Mackenzie Mbako that he was going to play the 3. And relying on having those 3 big guys is not necessarily the best option in the world. And we got to get the break in a second. But all I'll say is that when you have an all-conference caliber point guard that is expected to come back and people think that he's going to come back, it makes it difficult to go out in the portal and get somebody because nobody wants to sit the bench if you're going to be good enough. We got to hit a break real quick. On the other side, I'm going to talk about a couple top teams in the SEC. Took absolute beatdowns. Was this just life on the road, or does it say a little bit more about Auburn and Tennessee? Big news, guys. I am thrilled to announce that we have partnered with Autograph, a company founded by the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. The Autograph fandom app gives you access to the best college hoops content, fan contests, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets, all for doing the things that diehard fans like you already do, following your favorite team in the news and listening to podcasts just like this one. When Tom, and yes, I am calling him Tom, we're on a first name basis these days, co-founded Autograph, he had one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. It works like this: you get all of your college hoops content you want in one place. You get articles from your favorite writers, pods from your favorite hosts, contests from your favorite creators, all on the feeds and the sites that you already enjoy. But instead of having to go to all these different places, it all comes to you in one spot, the Autograph fandom app. But here's the best part: the more content that you consume, the higher you rank in the app. As you consider to level up in status on the app, you can unlock unique rewards curated exclusively for you. So download the free Autograph app in the App Store and use the referral code F68, that's F68, or tap in at the link in the description below or in the podcast app of your choosing to start earning points for doing something as normal as listening to this very podcast. It really is that simple. Welcome back to the Saturday evening edition of the Field of 68 After Dark. Rob Dauster, Randolph Childress, Jeff Goodman. We got about 6 minutes left before we're going to head to the afters over on our YouTube channel. If you're listening on Sirius, make sure you jump in. You ask us questions. We try to answer them without getting canceled. There's no guarantee that we can actually kind of thread that needle, so to speak. RC, before we get into the SEC, are there any other shots you want to take at Notre Dame football? Do you want to drive that dagger into our producer Dagan Hughes' heart? Is there anything else that you want to say before we move on?
No, I've been warned already about it, but hey, we'll talk about the rankings again when we start. I don't talk to me next year if Notre Dame football is in the final in the playoffs. Then we'll talk.
Dagan will not be doing any talking, he says, in our ears. So, all right, let's get to the SEC. We got about 5.5 minutes before we our show is done on series. Texas A&M 85, number 6 Tennessee 69, Florida 81, number 12 Auburn 65. As weird as it sounds, I don't think either of those games were necessarily as close as the final score indicates. Jeff, who are you most worried about? Auburn, Tennessee?
Probably Auburn a little bit, because I didn't think they were this good to begin with, and I'm not sure Bruce Pearl did either. We're going to be down there next Saturday doing the show. Surprise, from Auburn. We got a double header. RC, how
great
about that?
Timing to go see Auburn play Kentucky, right? Perfect timing. There's never been better timing.
It actually will be good. It'll be both teams. It's going to be a war.
You couldn't ask for that. You couldn't ask for that.
War. Right.
You couldn't ask for that right now.
Texas A&M, Alabama first, and then
that
Kentucky,
might be the better
Auburn
game, actually.
Well, listen, Wade Taylor. When you got Wade Taylor and Boots Radford on together, and they're both on their game, they're about as dynamic 1-2 punch you're going to find in the country with what they can do off the bounce and shooting it from deep. Again, I've said it with Wade Taylor. Like, when he's good, like, he's as good as anybody in the country. And when he's bad, he's as bad as anybody in the country. There's not much in between. No, but that's the truth. That is the truth. You want to hear it or not?
Hey, Jeff, you know who he reminds me of?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just
you know who he reminds me of?
When we hear this. Go ahead, RC. Sorry.
No, he reminds me of Nigel Pack in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of Nigel Pack in that manner. Like two explosive guards that can give you 30. But then the flip side is you can be like, man, what like, have you, like,
those
shots.
Then
you go look for them.
Right. In the shot.
What were you doing? Were you looking on the papers on your desk? Is that what you were just doing?
Yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes when you're looking for. Because this is the A&M backcourt I thought I was going to see all year long. Mm-hmm. And then they come and we didn't see it all year. Then they come out tonight, and I'm like, damn. Like, this is what I thought I was going to get all year. And I know Rafa got hurt, and I know he wasn't there, and he missed some games, man. But, They missed him dearly. But man, I mean, you're talking about Taylor was the first team All-American. We expected him to be able to hold them down through that stretch as well, man. So,
hey, look, this is what Buzz Williams does. Buzz Williams might be the new. It might not just be a must bus. It might be the buzz bus now. In 2022, remember they lost
the buzz
8 in a row
and
and
the
9
buzz
out of 10.
saw. Come on,
the buzz saw. Yeah, the buzz saw. So they lost 8 in a row, 9 out of 10 in SEC play. They won their last 4. They made it to the finals of the SEC tournament, and they just missed out on the NCAA tournament in 2022. In 2023, remember they started 6-5, and they ended up winning the SEC regular season title, got into the NCAA tournament as the 7th seed. This year, they were 3-4 in the SEC at one point. They started out the season 7-4. They've now won 3 in a row. They've now won 5 of their last 6 and 6 of their last 8, and they are now sitting here at 6-4. It's 2 games out of first place, but if they go on the road next Saturday and they win at Alabama, which is all of a sudden a very intriguing game, we might be having a different conversation about them. Let's touch on Florida because we got to talk about Florida. 61 points from Riley Kugel, Walter Clayton, and Zion Poland. I don't know. I don't know how I entirely feel about this Florida team, and it probably needs more than 2 minutes for me to kind of hash it out. But RC, when you look at the talent that they have in their backcourt, they've won 5 out of 6. They're 6-4 right now in the SEC, 16-7 overall. I'm kind of digging what Todd Golden's put together with this group.
They're trying to play themselves back in the tournament, or into the tournament, I should say. I think that's the best way to say it. I mean, we always this is the way this backcourt played. It's funny with both teams. We just talked about A&M's backcourt. This Florida backcourt was the same thing. We're like, man, the ability to make shots. We expected them to play the way that they're playing right now, and if they continue that, this team will make a run in it. They'll finish strong in SEC play. They'll be a dangerous out. They're going to get quality opportunities to boost their resume, and I think they'll play themselves in the tournament. But they have to sustain the level of play that they're playing right now. They can't have any slip-ups, no margin for error, but they're playing their way back in it. It's just what we expected from them from the beginning of the year.
Yep. All right, Jeff, you got about 30 seconds here. Tennessee or Auburn? Are you more like who do we take more out of for this loss, and then RC, you go on that too?
I still think Tennessee is a team that I've come around on a little bit. I'm not saying they're a Final Four team, but I think they go further than Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can be a Final Four team. I think they're a better team. I think Tennessee is probably the more complete team in that league.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of coming around to that point. I don't want to leave the bandwagon of Auburn. I've been kind of driving that bandwagon at this point, but I really do not want to leave it because they are a very entertaining team that I think have a real chance. But listen, we're about done here on SiriusXM. If you're watching on YouTube, stay on YouTube. If you are listening on SiriusXM, come over to our YouTube channel. That is the Field of 68. We're going to be here on the stream for about the next probably 20 minutes, answering some questions, getting into some things that we haven't discussed yet, talking Tyler Kolek, who had an unbelievable performance. We're going to get into that stuff right now. It's the afters, baby. Field of 68 after dark. All right, we're here. We're live. We're in the afters. RC, you're going to get a little bit more blurry here as we kind of grind through.
Oh this. Man, was that an old fashioned?
No, it is. It's just a little bourbon on the rocks. I don't get too fancy with the old fashioned stuff. A little bourbon, a little ice.
I should have ran upstairs and made me one, man. I feel bad you drinking.
Yeah, go ahead. I can ask Jeff this question. I can look. You know what? Here, you know what? RC, we're gonna go ISO to Jeff on this one because I'm gonna ask him about Tyler Kolek, and he's gonna sit here and talk for about 25 minutes. So you probably can go make yourself two. You can go make one, finish it, and then make.
I go make a double.
The best point guard in America, baby. I can go on for 20 minutes about
it. Let me set the table on it, Jeff. Let me set the table on it. Marquette. Down by 15 with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first half. It's 45-30. They're getting lit up. Their defense looks terrible. They can't run offense against Rick Pitino's backcourt. It looks like they're going to take another bad loss at home. Tyler Kolek wakes up at halftime. They end up winning 86-75. They go on a 56-30. I don't even think you can call it run. That is a surge. That is an avalanche. Tyler Kolek finishes with 27 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds, and 5 threes. It is the first time since 2010, since the 2009-2010 season, that anybody has done that in college basketball. 27 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds, 5 threes. More to the point, in his last 7 games, remember he had they had the back-to-back losses where he was terrible. He was horrible in those 2 losses. In the last 7 games, Marquette is 7-0, and Tyler Kolek is averaging 19.7 points, 10 assists, while shooting 52.6% from the floor and 47.4% from 3, while shooting more than 5 threes per game. The last 7 games, Tyler Kolek has been better than Jalen Brunson was when he won National Player of the Year. He's been unbelievable.
I feel like it coincided, those 2 games where he played poorly, Rob, coincided with Cam Jones, us introducing Cam Jones as our fashion correspondent, and him crushing Tyler Kolek's look and telling everybody about what he was wearing underneath the shorts for games.
Cam Jones, he told him that he wears regular boxers, and then all of a sudden Tyler Kolek couldn't make a shot.
Couldn't play. So, like, I think he rattled his teammate. I think he threw off Tyler Kolek, and then Kolek decided, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm just going to go out and play my game. I don't care what my teammate says about me. I don't care about my look. When Tyler Kolek is playing, sometimes I feel like I'm watching a video game. And the way he probes, the way he moves, what he can do on that court, like, there just aren't other guys in the country that can do what he does when he's on his game. And generally he's on his game, right? First of all, he just makes life easier for everybody around him, which I'm shocked that guys like Joplin and Stevie Mitchell don't have better games consistently. Obviously, Cam Jones, same thing. Like, he gives them, not only does he give them the ball, but he gives them the ball where they need it, like in their shooting pocket, and where they can quickly get the ball to the bat. Like, it's easy for him. And then when he wants to, and he doesn't do it enough, but he did it tonight, he's just like, screw this. I'm a score 2, because I can shoot the 3. I can get to the basket. I can finish around the hoop because I'm crafty. So I just don't think there's any rebounds like few others at his position. So again, to me, for my money, you know who I'm taking. It's been that way all year. There's no better point guard. You guys tried to argue with me a little bit at the United Center, and I wasn't having it, and I'm still not having it.
Well, you can say that now, but you didn't feel that earlier in the Big East play when the season started and he was shooting like 20-something% from 3.
I wasn't worried.
I was not worried.
I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried at all. At all.
RC, let me ask you this. Do you think he can play in the NBA? And not just play, like, do you think he's worth more than just an end of the bench spot, a G League 2A? Because the more I watch him and the more I see that some of the passes that he threw tonight, you got to watch. Like, if you guys haven't seen the highlights, go find one of the compilations of what he can do. Like, some of the passes that he threw tonight were ridiculous. But I think that if you see what TJ McConnell's done in the NBA, how much success someone like a Jalen Brunson is having, you can't tell me there's not a job for him somewhere. I know he's not Brunson. He's not going to be that dude. But he can be TJ McConnell. Like, he can have that kind of career,
there's a role for him. But you guys know when
Monty Morris, someone like that.
Yeah, but guys like him, he's not an elite guy. He's not an above the rim guy. He's not a blur. He doesn't have an elite physical skill set. So, but he's smart. He's tough as nails. He's a shot maker, high IQ. He can play. It's just a matter of him finding, or the situation finding him. If he finds that, I think he can be a heck of a player. I mean, being a solid player and finding a role on the team. But I don't, he's not. He's just like a lot of other guys. Yes,
he's a second unit point guard. You know who he could be like TJ McConnell is a much better defender, but he couldn't shoot. I would say like a kind of like a Matthew Dellavedova type, but he's a better floor leader than Delly. Delly was a better shooter, but tough as shit, a little bit bigger.
But you're going to need a guy. You're going to need a guy on that second unit defensively to kind of be that guy and let him be the guy that kind of helps facilitate and be the offensive guy with you. So that's why I'm saying he's going to need a situation to fit his needs. He's not those guys defensively. The guys we're naming are just more get after you defensively, which is what teams want from their backup guards usually.
Yeah, that's true of like 95% of the players in the NBA, right? Like, how many guys do you say, like, okay, we're just gonna take them and we'll figure it out after that? There's like probably what, maybe 50 guys in the NBA tops like that. Someone like a Monte Morris, if Peyton Pritchard can be a $30 million guy in the NBA, not a year, he's on a
Right.
$30 million contract in the NBA. Like Tyler Kolek can play and can find a job somewhere as a second or third unit point guard. RC, I have an idea. Okay. And tell me what you think of this idea. You know how we've talked about having you and Hot Balls wrestle at
Yeah,
the Big East tournament and see if that could be something at halftime? I got a much
keep it
better
simple.
idea for halftime entertainment. It'll blow that away, mostly because nobody wants to see Hot Balls out there wrestling with anybody. What if we had a dunk contest between Tyler Kolek and Cam Spencer, but we lowered the rims to 8 feet so that they could actually dunk?
What is it going to be? 8 feet? How low is this rim going to be?
Hey, we can get RC in there too. We can get RC in that thing
Nah,
too now.
it's going to have to be
Hey,
a
you
hell
know
of a
what,
lot lower
RC,
than that. It's got to be 6
RC,
feet. Shit.
RC, it'll be a clap the backboard on a layup contest. So you could have the
It's got to be
fancies
something.
clap the
That's
backboard
about
on
all
a
I can do.
layup contest.
I'm done.
All right, let's kind of get into some big picture stuff for the rest of the season. We're gonna do win of the day. We're gonna do loss of the day. We're gonna do a couple of other little things here. But before we get into any of that, Jeff, is there any storyline? Is there anything that we haven't talked about? Is there any team that you want to highlight? I mean, Arizona's up by 20 at Colorado right now after going and winning at Utah. We see BYU is up on Kansas State right now. Rutgers beat Wisconsin by 22. Rutgers, since Jeremiah Williams got eligible, is 3-0. Jeremiah Williams is averaging 17 points and 5 boards. Alabama put up 109 on LSU. Creighton won at Xavier. South Carolina is still in first place in the SEC. North Carolina won a game on the road. Go ahead.
I got one. You haven't mentioned, and it's one of the best coaching jobs in America, and that's Kyle Smith at Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
They won at Oregon today. That's their first road sweep of the Oregon schools since 2009. They've won 5 straight, 9 of 11. I mean, think about it. Like, his roster was decimated by the portal last year. So here are his best players. His best players are Miles Rice, who's been awesome, who basically hasn't played in 2 years because of cancer, right? And he's battled cancer and he's probably freshman of the year. I mean, honestly, as good as like Reed Shepherd and all these other Dillingham and Cody Williams have been, I'm probably giving freshman of the year to Miles Rice because of everything he's had to go through. And they're on an NCAA tournament team right now. You know, Jalen Wells came from Sonoma State. The big kid, Oscar Clough, came from Cochise College in Arizona, another JUCO. Isaac Jones, their leading scorer, came from Idaho, transferred in. They got Yesufu, who couldn't get in the court at Kansas last year.
Mm-hmm.
So look at what that dude has done, and have them right now. They're on the right side of the bubble, I think, as of now. Again, they're probably right there, but beating Oregon at Oregon tonight was a monstrous win for their chances.
Yeah. Before beating Oregon at Oregon, Washington State was a 10 seed in the fielding the 68 bracket. So like they were already in with a little bit of room to spare before today. But RC, like Kyle Smith, man, everywhere that he goes, he just finds a way to win at places where nobody wins.
It's unreal because no one expected this. Like, none of us sat here and thought Washington State was going to be any good. Like not even close to being as good as they've been.
Last in the Pac-12.
They were the bottom. Yes, we're picking them to be bottom of the league. That was disintegrating before our very eyes anyway. And to see them, and literally today, I got to give Arizona credit because I thought Arizona was the road trip after coming off the triple overtime to go into Colorado and smack them again. I'm sitting there going, all right, because I was ready to come out here and crush them and be like, I'm so tired of y'all inconsistent asses. Like, what are you guys going to do? Is it you going to be the team we thought you were going to be or not? And then you look up now and they're starting to figure out. But when you look, talking about Washington State, had Arizona
hold on,
lost.
real quick on Arizona, RC, before you go on Washington State, I'll let you get to the point. I want to emphasize that point you just made about Arizona. Nobody wins that road trip to Colorado and Utah because of the elevation, because of the travel that you have. be able to get there because of how well coached and good those teams are. Like it's very rare to go to Utah and to Colorado and win both of those games in 3 days. And in Arizona,
a triple overtime, Rob.
Three overtimes, like 3 overtimes at Utah. 2 days later, goes out and beats.
And they're gonna put up 100 on Colorado.
Yeah,
and I was ready to come here. I was ready to come here and be like, yo, this backcourt, I'm just ready to crush these dudes. Be like, hey man, Boswell, what the hell? And then he's starting to figure it out, man. He's starting to figure it out. And I've been hard on him. So I got to give him his flowers now. And to see them on that road trip, because I was ready to be like, man, they need to step up and show that they can be the team that we thought they can be. And I'm like, I've been on Boswell. I've been on Love. I'm like, hey man, y'all got to be more consistent. Well, Boswell's starting to do it. And I'm just like, all right, man, flowers credit to you guys.
17
that's an
points,
impressive
4 assists for Boswell tonight. He
that's
hit 3 threes. Caleb Love, your boy, Goodman had 19 points, 4 6 from 3. He's played pretty well. Pello Larson has been the best player on this trip. I'm still saying I think that Boswell had an injury or something, because I don't know if you saw it in like the second overtime at Utah, RC, but he like ran by someone and just kind of bumped shoulders a little bit and went down in pain. And it didn't make sense. If you go back and look at the bad games that he's had, like he was non-existent. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna say like he was dealing with something. It was something. He had a something. He had a shoulder. Okay. He had a wrist.
He's back. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, he's back.
That's back. The Dauster diagnosis, RC. He had a something.
He had a something. He had a something. All right, let's get into. We're gonna do some of our superlatives here. I want to start with this. I want to start with the best win. And you can't say anything that we talked about. Like you can't say Gonzaga had the best win. Obviously, that was a great win. It was the most important one. I want to hit on some of the teams that we haven't talked about yet and get kind of some of the other storylines. So when people come here and they watch this video and they see this clip on YouTube and they yell at us about how Gonzaga went to Rupp and run it, we spent 20 minutes at the open of the show talking about it, okay? We want to be able to give some other teams some love. So, Jeff, I'm going to you first on this one. Who, in your mind, had the best win of the day in college basketball?
All right. I mean, we've touched on a lot of these, so it's hard. You got to like kind of dig deep for this one. I'm going to go with Amir Abdur-Rahim and South Florida winning at Rice, because last I checked, Memphis went to Rice and they did not win. Correct? They did not win. I think they came up short against Rice. Now USF is firmly entrenched in first place in the AAC over FAU, our darlings, and the Memphis Tigers. That is beyond ridiculous. He took over a team, a new program, brought a guy or two with him, but a completely new team. And oh, by the way, he just did this at Kennesaw. He went from, in 4 years, going from one win to taking him to the NCAA tournament last year. Takes another very difficult job in USF and now has him on the verge. Again, I think we had him in our field. I believe we had him just in our field, right? So we had him in as an AQ. But they're right there. They're right on the bubble now. If they got other opportunities, obviously, in front of them, they have to win. They've already beaten Memphis.
RC, best win of the day today, Saturday, college basketball. And I love that call, by the way, Goodman. Amir Abdur-Rahim has done a fantastic job there. We have to call them John Henson's guy. He claimed him. Okay. John Henson is from Tampa.
He probably lives next door to him.
Games. Yeah, right. So that's, you got to, if you're going to talk about USF, you have to say John Henson's USF Bulls. Okay. Just get that out there. Go ahead, RC.
We've already touched on it, man. I'm going to wait till my toast of the night to go with another team. But I thought the Florida win was just big. I think the team is fighting for their life. They've kind of crapped the bed, dug themselves in a serious hole where I thought, like, early in the year, I'm like, man, this ain't working. And they figured it out, and they're clawing. They're starting to play their best basketball. So I thought they'd win at home against Auburn because it wasn't close. That was an ass kicking, and from the tip to the end. And so that's why I'm impressed with that win. It wasn't that I thought they could win the game. It was how they won a game against a team that we all think is damn good, and we think very highly of in Auburn Tigers. And They came into Florida and Gainesville and got their ass kicked tonight.
Yeah, that was a big win for Florida. They are an 11 seed right now in the field of 68 bracket, and that was something that they absolutely needed to kind of keep themselves from feeling the pressure.
Can I ask you guys something before we go? I know we're in after, so we can go. What the hell's going on with Wisconsin? Like they like did something happen that I don't know? If there's some massive injury, like 4 straight offensively, like shit.
Yeah, we'll get into that for the worst losses. We'll dive into that in a second. Can I do my best win? Are you okay with me if I do my best win now? Are you gonna get into it? I'm going with Virginia. I'm going with the Wahoos, man. I thought that this was where the winning streak was going to end. I thought they were going to go on the road. They were going to go to Tallahassee. They were going to run into Leonard Hamilton, and they were going to drop a game on the road there. They did not. They won 80-76. They put up 80 points. This Virginia team, who cannot score, put up 80 points on Florida
Hey, Rob,
State.
can I add something to your team? Tony Bennett, I'm sorry. I apologize. I will admit when I'm wrong. I had you guys when early in the year at Memphis, and they kicked. It was embarrassing. It was bad. I left that game thinking, man, this Tony Bennett can't fix this. This is irreplaceable. I mean, I don't even want to see that anymore. And to see this team where they are right now, getting Minor, getting Harris, and then Tony Bennett, I'm sorry. I can admit I'm wrong. I apologize. So I just wanted to say that to Tony and his staff. Like I'm sorry.
I'm glad you said it, because that was going to be kind of how I handled this thing. Like, yeah, you know what? We might have fucked this one up, varsity. We might have got this one wrong, man. Look, this are the last 3 games that Virginia has played of an 8-game winning streak, mind you, an 8-game winning streak. They go on the road and they beat a really good Clemson team. They come home and they hold Miami, who's one of the best offensive teams that you're going to find, one of the best shooting teams that you're going to find, to 38 points. Miami scored 38 points in an entire game against Virginia. Then they go and they play at Tallahassee. They play at Florida State today, and they put up 80 on a Florida State team that can guard. They've got a bunch of athletes all over the floor. And all of a sudden they're sitting here. They're a game out of first place, and they play North Carolina at home on Saturday, February 24th. He's going to do it. Tony Bennett is going to do it. Tony Bennett is going to come out here and he's going to win the ACC regular season title again. Like, yeah, we messed this one up, man. Remember, I specifically remember the point earlier this season where I said, and I had to quote, that Tony Bennett has lost his fastball. He is not. He is not. He's still got the fastball, and now he's got the change working, and now that curveball right there. What are we going to learn, man? Why do we ever doubt Tony Bennett? Why do we do it?
Never do it again.
I said he was going to retire after this year, I think. Didn't I?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like, oh man, he don't want to deal with this mess no more. Tony Bennett's going to retire. Yeah. He's tired of this crap. He's not dealing with this. I don't know if he feels like he can compete with all this NIL. Yeah, I'm sorry. Again, I'm sorry, Tony Bennett and the Virginia Cavaliers.
Oh man, yeah, it's good to, you know what, it's fun to see Virginia make this run, and we have definitely not had any like Virginia fans jumping up in our mentions on Twitter. That never happens. You never hear anything from those Virginia fans. Nah, nothing. They never yell at us at all. So, all right, let's move on. Next one, the worst loss, and RC, I'm going to go to you first on this one because I have a feeling I know where you're going with this.
Hey man, y'all got to help me out. What's going on in Wisconsin? Like, did something happen? Did the damn cheese went stale? Like, what's going on here? What are we doing? like is it spoiled? The cheese it's just like it's rot. It stinks. What are we doing here? I mean, they can't shoot anymore. They not defend. Like, what? I'm asking. I don't know. 4 straight, and you blew a 17 point lead.
Hey, Freddie Hoiberg just stuck a fork in him when remember they were up. Man. They were up like 20 points.
I want to say, I thought it was 17 or something in Nebraska, and then ever since then, it's like they forgot how to do everything.
Yeah, they've been done. I mean, they can't make shots from 3. Yeah, they're just. I mean, it's bad. I mean, the Purdue loss is the Purdue loss. Who cares? But but you lose Nebraska and you lose Michigan, and then you get blown out by a very average Rutgers team that I know is playing better, but they're still very average.
Can I play devil's advocate here for a second? Losing at everybody loses at Nebraska. Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with losing at Nebraska. Right.
It's how they lost.
I know they blew a 17-point lead, like whatever. Nebraska is one of those teams that will put 16,000 people in Pinnacle Bank Arena and find a way to win games. Like, they are the most Jekyll and Hyde team in the Big Ten. They beat everybody at home and they lose to everybody on the road, right? Okay, whatever. You lost in Nebraska. Big deal. You lose to Purdue at home. It's Purdue, man. Like, it's Purdue. It's Mackey. It's Zach Edey. It's Purdue. Okay, whatever. You go on the road. You play at the Rack. I know you got beat by 22, but you're coming off of a 3-game losing streak. The confidence isn't quite there. Rutgers is a different team with Jeremiah Williams back. He had 18 points, 5 boards, 7 assists today. Okay, look, you know what? I can write all 3 of those off. The Michigan one is bad. I got nothing. Okay, I got nothing. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. I got nothing on that one. That's a bad one.
Hey, I love the way you skipped that. I was looking like, wait a minute, did we forget somebody in there? Like, what?
No, I got nothing on that one, man. I can't even talk my way into that one. But I think 3 of those 4 losses you can kind of look at and say, yeah, they probably there was a good chance they were going to end up losing those ones, right? You got Ohio State at home coming up here on Tuesday. You go to Iowa on Saturday. You get Maryland at home next week. Like, you have a chance to get this thing right in these next 3 games. I'm willing to write this off as like a bad 2 weeks. They lost a little bit of confidence at Nebraska, got their ass kicked by Purdue. They did something dumb at Michigan, and then they went on the road to a Rutgers team that is playing much better. And like, the Rack's a tough place to play. It's not easy. You got all those crazy Jersey guys sitting there screaming at you. Okay, I'll write it off. I'm not going to get like very worried about them until they lose to Ohio State at home. You lose to this Ohio State at home, then we have a problem. Goodman, who was your worst loss of the day?
All right, it is the New Mexico Lobos, who lost at home to UNLV. And here's why. To put it into context. Right now, we had them as an 8 seed in our fielding, the 68. And last year, remember, they were 18-2. They looked like they were a lock to get in the NCAA tournament. Then they went 3-8 down the stretch. Didn't end up getting in. Mm-hmm. We talked to Richard Pitino earlier this year, and he was completely transparent about it. He said, like, yeah, that's something we kind of have to get past mentally. Well, this year they've started off great again, and they lose the 2nd straight home game. This one comes to UNLV on the heels of one against Boise last week. But they're 9 before today, and now their next 3 games are this. They're at Nevada, at San Diego State, Colorado State at home. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could legitimately go 0-3, and if you go 0-3, that's a tailspin. Now, luckily, they get Air Force at home after that, but at Boise, then they finish at Utah State. Like, they had to win today's game. Today's game was one of those that should have been a gimme. And our guy, Didon Thomas Jr., was electric today. Like, he's just so much fun to watch. He can get anywhere he wants on the court. So, yeah, I think New Mexico, because of the totality of it, I think it was the worst loss of the day.
Yeah, look, New Mexico has 7 games left in the regular season, right? 5 of them are against the other top 6 teams in the Mountain West. Yeah. 4 of those 5 games are on the road. They still have to play at Nevada, at San Diego State, at Boise State, and at Utah State. And that doesn't include Colorado State at home. That is ridiculous. Like, they could legitimately go 1-4.
They got to figure out a way to go 3-6. They got to figure out a way to go 3-3 in that stretch. I mean, it's because that's as difficult as you're going to find.
Yeah.
RC, they play 7 games, and you said they got to find a way to go 3-6, and then you said
I'm saying total 3-3. I said 3-6.
What are we doing here?
Hey, I need my scotch, man. I meant 3-3 against those. They need to find a way to go 3-3, and that's I'm thinking his head in those 6 games.
Hey, that week education.
Yeah, I know,
those
right?
math
It sounds like you
classes
did
missed a couple
classes at North
classes.
Carolina in your off season.
Hey, I took some online classes, man. Give me some
He
slack.
was,
Right.
he was the pioneer of the online class, RC.
Goodman, I'm glad you caught that too, because I'm sitting here like, you know that
Right.
meme when it's Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover and like the numbers are just
Hey.
running through his head.
Hey,
Just
Rob,
sitting
when
here
I
like,
said it, after I said it, I'm like, damn, did I say 3 or 6? I'm thinking
Hey,
I'm like,
Goodman,
keep
he's
going.
blurred.
I didn't get a reaction, so I'm just like, I thought I said, don't
Right.
worry about it. Nobody's gonna catch
We were
that.
both doing some subtraction in our heads.
Goodman, he's blurry again.
Man.
Oh
He
no,
is
he's
blurry.
blurry again. All right.
Plenty
My
blurry.
worst loss of the day. I'm gonna go with Providence losing at Butler, and not because
Shouldn't
it's
have lost.
necessarily like a bad loss. They lost by 3 on the road when Josh Aduro was, I believe, his wife was having like his first child was born. So one, congratulations to Josh Aduro. You're never going to sleep 8 hours a night again. So good luck. As someone with 2 kids.
Congratulations, Josh, on being a father. All right, that's what he meant to say.
Yeah, that just came out wrong.
Yeah. No, it didn't. I meant every word that I said, guys.
Don't spoil it for me.
All right. So, but the reason why it's a bad loss is, one, Providence was up by 7 with, I think it was 3:45 left in the second half at Butler, who, by the way, Butler's like an 8 seed right now. Butler's really damn good. And 2, they got robbed at the end. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Corey Floyd on the final possession, down by 1, goes to the basket and he goes up to try to dunk on the dude, and they call it a block. And the only person that came anywhere near touching the ball was Corey Floyd. Like, he got hit twice on the arm, 2 different guys, got thrown to the floor. Should have been a foul. He should have been going to the free throw line. He should have been taking 2 free throws. Providence needed that win. Right before today, in yesterday's Fielding the 68 bracket, they were the first team out. They really could have used a road win against a top 30-ish, 35-ish kind of a team, and they did not get it because the rest of the referees missed that call. So I'm going with a different angle on the worst loss. Let's do toast of the night. Let's get to our toast of the night for tonight. Goodman, we'll go to you first on this one. Who are we toasting?
I'm toasting the guy who made his first career 3-pointer, the big boy, Zach. What do you call him? 3D. Zach 3D.
Zach 3D
makes his first 3, and he does it against an Indiana team that he's dominated this year. That again, it was almost like a mocking 3, in my opinion. But Zach, man, congrats, and you know what? Many more. You have the green light. Keep shooting them, man, my man.
Yeah, he's a career 50% 3-point shooter. Let him fly.
Right. Better than RC.
3D.
What did RC shoot from 3 in his career?
It wasn't 50. I can tell you that.
Right. And you
not as
jacked
good
a
as
whole
Justin
lot
Gray.
of them.
Hey,
not as good as Justin Gray.
Hey. All I know is that I'm top 2, and I ain't 2 on that list there. So I'm gonna say that.
No, look, you know what? That's an accounting error. Okay, like we checked the math on that one.
Right.
Justin
That's your
Gray
bad math.
Yeah. It's 3. They 3 and 6. I'm 3 and 6 again.
All right, RC,
hey,
who
man,
got toast of the night?
I'm going with Shamir Bogues of the Catamounts of Vermont.
Stole
covered those guys early this year, man. And he had a game winner tonight. They're in first place in the American East. Congratulations, Coach Snyder and his guys, his staff. Big win. So, Bogues, on you, my man.
Yep, Mir Bogues, game winner. That was mine, RC. So I'm going to have to pivot.
Good.
I'm going to my Eli's. I'm going back to New Haven. I'm going down to Yale, who is one of just 2 teams left in college basketball undefeated in conference play because they came back from 16 points down at home against Cornell, who, by the way, was also undefeated in the Ivy League coming into this game. They found a way to win thanks to an and one with 3.2 seconds left from Matt Noling. So cheers to you, Yale Bulldogs, Matt Noling, James Jones, guest on the Field of 68 After Dark on Thursday night. New Haven
He was
native.
great.
That was one of the
He was
most.
so
That was one of the most electric interviews that we've had, Goodman. And
He
you
was
know
He's
why?
really
We didn't
good.
have a chance-
He is really good.
Yeah. RC, he
Yes.
still had his Christmas tree up in the background.
He
I
did
gotta
that.
call him on this, man.
He forgot
James,
to
I love
ask
you.
him.
Yeah, he had the Christmas tree up in the background of his shot on the Zoom, and it's February 9th. Like,
He said,
man,
he
what are
said
we
how much he
doing?
loves Christmas. He said that
Wow.
during the conversation, and you didn't. You being the poor interviewer you are, you had the next question, and you never asked them about the Christmas tree.
I had to ask him about New Haven pizza. That was the more important question to ask.
That's where you went. You're right. You did.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
were
if
so
I'm going to
tunnel
ask about it,
vision.
if I have the choices, if I have a choice to ask about a Christmas tree and New Haven pizza, you know what the answer is going to be. I'm going to ask about New Haven.
Pastner asked them like 4 questions in one.
Yeah, one. That was one of the funniest interviews. Pastor just kept asking questions. Pastor just kept asking questions.
thought
If
he
you
was in
guys are wondering
studio,
why
man.
we're sitting here, if you're wondering why we're sitting here rambling right now, it's because every time we say something, our producer Dagan Hughes in the background is saying, "Can we
Yes.
just wrap this up, please? Can we just wrap this up, please?" I don't know if
We
you
can't
guys
hear
are
him.
hearing that.
I can't even hear Dagan.
I'm ignoring him. I'm
I don't know
ignoring
what
him.
we're talking
He's a Notre Dame football fan, man. His own damn coach left the school and went to the SEC. Like, get out of here.
Oh
We
no,
listen
you know
to
what?
this
All right,
dude?
all right. Real quick before we're done, I want official Super Bowl predictions. Okay,
Yeah, we
you
need
can say
that.
someone's going to
Yeah.
win. You can say someone's going to lose. You could predict who's going to score a touchdown. Anything you want. Goodman, I'm going to you first. Give me an official Super Bowl bold prediction. You got to lock it in. A lot of pressure on you for this one.
Well, since I took Pacheco to be MVP and I got a lot riding on it, I'm going with Pacheco to win MVP. Kansas City to win, and Pacheco to run in about 3 scores and get MVP.
Stop.
Just saying.
I'm against that. I don't like that. Go ahead, RC.
I like that. I don't think it's that many scores, but I'm going San Fran, man. I think San Fran is just a better all-around team at every level. I think San Fran wins. I'm scared to death Patrick Mahomes is going to play Superman, but I think San Francisco wins it.
Yeah, as someone that grew up a 49ers fan, RC, I can tell you that the way that this game is going to play out is that the 49ers are going to get like a 14-point lead, 17-point lead heading into the fourth quarter, and then Pat Mahomes is going to go full Pat Mahomes. He's going to go throw 2 touchdown passes to Travis Kelce in the last 4 minutes. I root for the 49ers, and I
who was on the 49ers when you liked him? Like, it was after Steve Young and after, like,
no, it was
you're too
before.
young.
It was Joe Montana. When I was 5, I got a Joe Montana full uniform for Halloween, and I was like,
How old are you?
I'm a 49er.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
You're not 29. You're
Not
definitely
as old
not
as you.
29.
No, but here's my official prediction is that Pat Mahomes is going to go full Pat Mahomes. He's going to throw 2 touchdown passes to Travis Kelce in the last like 5 minutes of the game. Travis Kelce is going to end up winning Super Bowl MVP because he ends up with like 160 yards and 3 touchdown catches. He's going to propose to Taylor Swift on the field with the Super Bowl MVP trophy under his
That's like
arm.
a bet.
And then he's going to announce his retirement. And then he's going to announce his retirement, and he's going to throw Jason Kelce is going to carry the 2 of them off the field, and that's going to be the end of the show. That's going to be the end of the Super Bowl.
Let me hop in here.
All right,
I
go
got
ahead,
my own
David.
prediction. So I
What do you got?
was
This is
talking to
Dagan
Rob.
Hughes, by the way, our producer.
They know who I am.
The voice that you were hearing.
I was
now.
talking
Nobody
to
knows
Rob
who you are.
maybe a week ago about this exact thing. So this is kind of this is like half stolen because I told him Travis Kelce's going to win it Super Bowl MVP. So don't look at me like that. We talked about this the other day.
Half stolen.
This is stolen.
Congratulations on the first
anyway,
one ever that this was stripped by the
so
NFL.
I'm going
What
with
else did you-
Rob's
Travis Kelce's
prediction,
gonna win
right?
Super Bowl.
Travis Kelce's going to win Super Bowl MVP, but instead of proposing to Taylor Swift, him and Jason are going to retire together on the stage with Jim Nance right there, and they're going to retire together. That's my bold prediction.
There you go.
I don't
I like
think
it.
Kelce. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
Travis is going to retire.
I think he is.
What is he? 33?
Yeah, something like that.
No, he's
34,
hinted at it
something
pretty
like that.
heavily.
He's in this.
He's hinted at it pretty heavily. All right, this is the college basketball podcast. So let's wrap this thing up. I have to go make RC a little bit more blurry with the rest of this doble.
I gotta
So
catch
for Randolph Childress, for Jeff Goodman, for our producers, Dayton Hughes and Trevor Valise, who did a lot of really good work behind the scenes, scrambling when our feed died
save
to
the stream,
build it and get it back going. They saved it. They saved the stream.
Trevor.
So shout out to Trevor and Dagan for being able to make
And
sure.
anybody before you go, Rob, before you go, anybody who's available to give some math lessons to RC, please hit me in the chat.
Hey,
this has
I
been
need
the Field of
tutoring
68.
from 1 to 2. From 1 to 2, 2 days a week.
Field of 68 after dark. We'll see you guys Monday night.